and see what it says. Oh, it's recording. Okay. So I'm Carrie with Stone Soup for Five, and I am here with my friend Dawne. And Dawne and I connected through my blog, and she set up a prayer journal kind of based on my prayer journal and the one that Gina Garland had a video for. And she has just done amazing stuff with her video. And I talked her into doing this video with me. It is very unprofessional. As you can see, I have my iPad right here because I couldn't figure out how to get a really slick app to record this really well. So we are on a Google Hangout right now, and I will switch the screen over to her in just a minute, and she can show you her prayer binder. So I just want to apologize. We searched for different apps and different really great ways to do this, and finally I'm like, you know what? Let's just record a screen recording a screen. And Dawn's such a great sport. She's going along with it. So I'm going to switch you over here to the view of Dawn's prayer binder. And then Dawne is just going to kind of take it away and I'll ask questions. And I'm really praying that you guys, even though this isn't going to be a great slick setup, that you guys can have grace on us and that you will get value from this and Dawn's prayer binder. And I think you will. So I'm going to switch the screens, Dawne, and I think it's all over on you.
Okay, thanks, Carrie. Thanks for the opportunity to do this. I am really excited to show you what's inside my prayer binder. I originally did get this idea from Gina Garland and from Carrie, and was so inspired to see their binders that I was just super eager to make my own. So Carrie's asked me to show you mine today. So here it is. Open it up inside. I'm just going to show you my major categories, first of all, just so you know what this is all about. But I have a section in here for praise. I have a section called me. I have a section for my husband, which I've made this somewhat anonymous, so bear with me with that. A section for our marriage, a section for my children, and then a section for urgent requests, and then weekly, very much the same as yours are, Carrie.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you section at the end, and then I have some extras at the back, which I will show you later.
Okay.
So that's kind of the gist of it.
It sounds great. So these sections, flip back. So you have your section for your husband, and then you said after him is sections for, is it for each one of your children individually? Or marriage?
After him I have marriage, and then I have my children. And there are things behind here that I pray for my children as a whole.
Okay.
I have a son and a daughter-in-law. And so I have prayers that I pray for them as a whole. So, for instance, this Colossians 1, 9 to 13, I pray for them as a whole. Or Ephesians 3, 16 to 19. Or for protection or health.
Okay.
Or this Inspired to Action calendar, which you also had.
And we'll get into that in a minute. I just wanted to see, okay, so you do have individual ones for each child too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Then I have one for my daughter, have one for my son, and one for my daughter-in-law.
Okay, perfect. So you can go back and start at the beginning. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but okay. I was a little unsure on if it was one for everybody or what. So that's great.
Yeah, just because there are some things that are specific to them that you want to pray for that, it's just not for the whole group of them.
Okay, great.
Okay, so just like yours, we start with praise because we want to acknowledge who we are talking to, obviously, first of all. And so I really like to start with this page here. This is a Names of God word cloud. And I like to just find the name of God that pertains to the current situation that I am in. You know, maybe I'm just going through a hard time right now, and I want to focus on God as being my refuge. So I might pull that out and just meditate on that and worship Him today for being my refuge. Or maybe today I'm just celebrating and He's my King, and so I will pull that. Sometimes I really need His peace, so I will pray to Him as my Jehovah Shalom. And it just reminds me that my peace comes from him. So I love this page here with the names.
And did you make that?
No, I found this on the internet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I can give you the link to that if you like.
Okay, maybe I can put that in the notes at the bottom of the video.
Sure.
Thank you.
Can do. And then I've collected a few of my favorite praise verses. We have them underlined in our Bible, but where are they? So I just like to have them here in my praise section. I also have a hymn that I just scanned out of a hymn book.
Oh, I love that.
Some people really want to start with a song. I don't actually sing it, but I do love to just look at the words to that. Hymns are very powerful.
Yeah.
And then I have words to a chorus as well. I also have Gina's list of praise psalms that I will go through. This it moves. Sometimes I really like to use this in my praise section, but then sometimes I like to have it at the end of my prayer time as well. Once I've spent time with God and just really want to praise him, it's nice to borrow the words from a psalm and just reflect those back to God.
So then that list there, I'll put up a link to Gina's notes, but that's all the psalms that are praise, correct? And then you just move your arrow. If you've already prayed like through Psalm 84, then you just know which one to do next.
Exactly. Yeah, these arrows are great. I have them on several pages. You will see them as we go through here. But yeah, if I do Psalm 84 today, I am just going to move this down to point to Psalm 92, and that is where I will pick up tomorrow.
Okay. That's great.
And then there is also this page that I got from you of the 30 days of praying the names and attributes of God. Love this. And I use my arrow here too, because sometimes at 7 a.m. I have no idea what the date is.
Right.
So I will just, again, move that over to the next one, and that's ready for tomorrow.
Great.
So, love the arrows. This I also got from you. I'm not an artistic person at all, but I just really loved how you pulled out the names of God that were special to you. And I thought, well, I can draw a cloud. I can start with that.
Yeah, that's great.
So thank you for that. I have the names of Jesus here too, which those are nice as well to have. And that's my praise section.
Okay.
So then, I'm not sure which one of you it was, but they talked about how we start, our order is we start with praise. We want to acknowledge God and who he is. And then me comes next. And some people kind of balk at that because they think that's really self-centered and absorbed. But the reason I like to do me next is because of this confession page. And I want to get my heart clean with God before I proceed to anything else. So I really like Psalm 139. I mean, it's a prayer already written out for us. And then these questions that you had put in yours, these are fantastic questions.
Yeah.
I like to go through these where you encourage us to go through the last 24 hours of our day and just think, were there sins that I committed, or even did I sin through omission? Were there things that I should have done that God really wanted me to do that I ignored his promptings? Or were there times just where my attitude wasn't great? Not Christ-like, not loving.
Right.
And I have found this page here. This is where God has really gently and lovingly showed me the areas of my life that need work. I was surprised the power of this.
So when you're on this page, then you don't necessarily write anything down, correct? You just think through and confess in your head, just you and God?
I actually have. There are some here.
Oh, okay. No, yeah.
There are some that I felt, I really need to write this down. This is good to remember. I've kind of journaled the confession, and writing and journaling can be really therapeutic.
But you don't necessarily do that every time? Is it just, or do you?
Right. No, I don't do it every
Okay.
time. I know some people do like to.
Okay.
But for me, if it's something that I keep dealing with over and over, like fear is a big thing for me. I have things written here, and it does me good to
Yeah.
read that later and reflect on that.
Yeah.
Just what God showed me that particular day, just to help me learn that lesson and press it on my heart.
That's
So
wonderful. Yeah. That's great.
yeah, there is that. Um, Matt Redman's song about mercy. Love this. May I never lose the wonder of your mercy. I just think that's such a powerful statement. So often we take it for granted, God's incredible mercy for
Yeah.
us. So I have that
I love
in
that.
this section. So still in the me section, there's this rest page that you talked about. This was hard for me at first, clearing my mind and just letting God speak to me, or letting, it's again, some people get tripped up on that phrase. It's not an audible thing.
Right.
Maybe impress is better. Just
Yeah. Yeah, I know what you mean. And you're right. It is hard because your mind is going a million miles an hour all the time, but it has been so beneficial for me.
totally. It's difficult to shut everything off. The verse "Be still and know that I am God" helps me with that. And so even, if I can't empty my mind, it's still a blessing for me to just, before I come with all the rest of this stuff in here, just to be reminded He is God.
Yeah.
He is God and I am not. And again, just be still. He's got this.
It's
So
just
yeah, I like this page. It's sometimes it's difficult, but very good exercise.
Okay, so then that's the only page that you have for that and just that verse on the top.
It is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I might grow in this yet, but I didn't add this page till later just because it's hard.
It is a hard page. Yes. I'm glad that you found it hard too and it wasn't just me.
No, it's hard. But yeah, on the days when I do twig with this, and it's not every day, but on the days that I do twig with it, it is beautiful. Love it. So yeah, I would never be without that page. I also use my me section to meditate on the verses that I just really, really want to get into my spirit. And I have found this one on the internet, just Googled the reference and found a pretty one and printed it off, colored it in, cut it out, put it in. So yeah, that might change once in a while, but lyrics to a song can also go in here. Rewriting a scripture into a prayer. I don't know if you have ever done that, but I love this one for fears, and just taking the wording and offering it back to God as a prayer. That holds a lot of power.
I love that.
For me.
I love that.
And yeah, more scripture. A girlfriend gave me this one. Love that one.
Yeah.
And then pages just for quotes. Just the lyrics of a song or a phrase that someone has spoken to me that speaks to me. It might even be a Disney movie.
Oh, right.
Just something
Yeah.
that God has spoken to me through that I just want to remember. So, and I found a little while after starting this binder that I was getting so caught up in all these sections that I really wasn't committing my day to Him the way I should have been. So I wrote this page as a today page, just to go, okay, do I have any appointments today? Do I have any phone calls that I'm going to be making? Any particular tasks that I want God's direction or His strength for? And so this is just like to remind me, oh, yeah, I guess I should pray for safety when I'm doing this thing today. And then just the reminder there.
Sorry, I'm getting over a cold. That's why I have a frog voice. But when you showed me this earlier, when we were just chatting, you and I added that into my binder too, because I never remember to pray for my day today. I pray through the whole thing and then it's like, just get started on my day. And then I didn't even realize until you had that in there that I am completely forgetting to do that. So I added that in. So thank you.
Oh, Oh, cool. Well, I'm glad to know I'm not the only one that thought that way then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just if you're going to phone somebody, isn't it great to go, oh, you know what, God, can you please speak through me to her today?
Mm-hmm.
And let my words be loving or supportive. And it's just so much better.
Yes, yes, I love that.
Oh, I just love this whole binder. But anyway, so Gina's notes, she had a whole list of things that we can be praying for ourselves. And so I just copied them out here. Again, I use my arrow because you would never be able to get through all of this in a day.
Right.
So I will pray for one a day, and then I will move my arrow down, ready for the next day. But I have had people look at me with this weird look and just say, I never pray for myself.
Oh, yeah.
So I love this list. All these wonderful godly characteristics.
Mm.
What a wonderful thing to be praying for those to be part of us. So
See,
I treasure this.
just looking at that, there are so many options on there that I have never even thought about praying. And I love, love, love that you wrote it out by hand and just the time and thought that takes, right, when you're writing it. And I bet you were thinking the same thing. I never pray that. And
Exactly.
I love it.
Exactly. So yeah, even meditating on them while you are praying and going, oh my goodness, yeah, I'm still working on this one. So
Yeah.
So, and then after that, I have a page, special requests for me. Now, I drew this one up again so it can be more personal and kind of anonymous. But so you just make a little box, a little ticky box, write in the date and your request, and then you leave a couple of lines for the answer when you get it. And I like to use a red pen so that they stand out. But when I get the answer, check off my ticky box because I love doing that, and write the answer in. I will date it as well. Sometimes you might have updates. Maybe this prayer request is ongoing and you want to post the updates.
Oh,
And
okay.
so again, that's written in red. But yeah, I have pages of requests with the red ticky box or the red check mark in the box. And so now I have a record of how God is moving in my life. Sorry,
Wow.
I'm bouncing this table, aren't I?
So, okay, tell me if you can, we didn't go over this, so I don't know if you'll be able to, but off the top of your head, maybe a generic thing that you would have on there. Like, what would you be praying for that would be a special request?
A special request for me might be healing.
Okay.
With something. Let's see. It could be that I would get over my fear of a particular kind of a situation.
And so it could be like, I'm just trying to think how you'd work this because I don't have this in mind. So it could be like a time, like a deadline thing too, right? So like if there's something coming up, a doctor's appointment or a test that you're taking or something like that, then you would write that there and then I pass the test in red or something like that?
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Or it could be, for instance, when I do a prayer binder workshop, I want to pray about that, and that God would bring the women there who really need to hear this.
Okay.
Although, actually, though, that's really not very specific for me. I would probably put that somewhere later. Specifically to me, having grace and patience when I have overnight guests here.
Okay, so everything in there would be more, I mean, maybe there's some big things, like you said, overcoming fear, but I'm just thinking it would be, for me at least, probably more calendar dated, like this thing is coming up and I'm very nervous about it, kind of thing.
Yes.
Right? Okay.
Oh, absolutely. That would be, boy, it's funny how I cannot remember these things. But
okay.
Things that I haven't covered necessarily in this list, but
Right.
yes, often date specific things.
Okay. That's great.
Hmm.
No, that's great. That I was just kind of thinking of how that would be different than the overall prayers, but yeah, if it's very time, bound, then that makes great sense to put it there.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's personal things that have just to do with me.
Okay, that's great.
That's all that is. Yeah. So, but what I do love about this, I mean, obviously you can see now I'm struggling to remember, and that's why I love this, is because I
Right.
do have a record of all the ways. Isn't that terrible?
No,
All
that's
the ways that he has answered prayer. So they're all
absolutely.
written down.
And I think all of us are geared that way where we forget easily. And I know, like, when I'm going through, I was doing a Bible study, and they're like, list all the ways that you can remember that God has come through for you. And I'm like, drawing a blank. I know He's come through,
Yeah.
but I can't think of any. And to have that page would be like, well, let me just tick them off. I love it.
Exactly. And you're absolutely right. That's what I have found. There was a while a few years ago I started a little journal so that I could write all God's answers to prayer. But you know, I kept it in a bookcase and it wasn't immediately accessible, and I
Right.
just forgot to write in it.
Right.
Whereas this, I go through this every day, and so I do remember I'm going through this list every day, and oh yeah, this is answered. I'll write the answer in, check it off. I have a section in the back even for the more major answers that I have received that I don't ever want to forget, that were just like, oh wow, God, you totally did something amazing there. So
I love it.
that's more at the back.
Love it.
Okay, so then there are these dividers. I believe this was from Gina's video where you pray for yourself as a wife,
Mm-hmm.
and there are 5 of them. And so on Mondays, I will pray for myself as a wife, and I have just cut apart Gina's list
Okay.
and glued it in here,
Okay.
and using my arrow again. And so there's a section for each day of the week here. You can pray for yourself as a mom, yourself as a daughter or a sister, as a friend, and then as a servant, and that's where you put whatever your ministry is
Okay.
at your church. So those are the 5 sections that work for me. But you can make any sections at all. You know, maybe you want your job in there, or maybe you're a student, and so you want to pray for your classmates, or the neighborhood that your school is in, or your program itself. So, yeah. So that is it for the me section. Quite long, but.
And so tell me, do you find that you go through every page every day, or?
Well, obviously not these 5
Right.
dividers, but you know, I do go through a lot of this each day.
Okay.
Because the things that are in here are things I do want to go through each day, but I have found that my prayer time is starting to get a little long, and I love your idea about that app that has the timer on it where you spend 2.5 minutes in a section. That is a great idea.
Yeah, because I found that I was doing the same thing. I would get wrapped up, and then it's like I didn't get through the rest because now my time's up, and yeah.
Right. Yeah. So I need to get that app. Yeah, I liked your idea where you would just camp on something in a section and then move on when the timer was up. That was a good idea too.
Okay, and I'll put a link to that app too. It's pretty, or you could just look up any what is it called, repeating timer. But I'll put a link to that one.
Okay. So then after my me section, this is my husband section. And I have a calendar here, praying daily for your husband. This is just different characteristics and things that you would like to pray for him for, his job, his mind, his walk with God. That's a great calendar. I got that from you.
Which I got it from
Gina's
Inspired to Action. So it wasn't my calendar, but I will put a link to that one too.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. And then here are Gina's notes for your spouse. Again, fantastic list of things you can be praying for your spouse. And the arrow keeps it manageable so that you can keep it within your time limit. And then I have a page of specific requests for him too. See, it's so hard to pray for ourselves. I could tell you exactly. It's under here. But, you know, it's praying for him and his job. Maybe he's having difficulties with people at work. Maybe he's going on a training course.
Okay.
Things like that. Those would be, and again, it's the ticky box and the date, and then I write the answer.
Love it. Love it.
So then I have a marriage section, which a lot of people say, well, isn't that the same thing? And it's not. The husband section is for him personally, where I have requests for him. The marriage section is for our relationship together.
Okay.
And so I have written Ephesians 4:2 and 3 here as a prayer, just reworded it a little bit to make it a prayer. And Gina's notes again with the sticky arrow. And some more scripture back here. Just, again, praying these or just reading them every day is a really good reminder.
Yeah.
Of having a Christ-like attitude. So that's my marriage section. Then I have my children's section. And I really like to have the photos in for people that I'm praying for. I just find that just makes it more personal somehow. So I have a photo of my kids. I have rewritten Colossians 1:9-13 here as a prayer and inserted their names in that. And same thing for Ephesians 3:16-19. Those are great prayers to pray daily for your kids when you just think all the characteristics that are included in those passages.
Oh, yeah.
Fantastic. And then I also pray for protection and for health for them on a daily basis. And then, yes, Inspired to Action has put out a calendar for praying for your children as well. And then Gina's notes. I did have to rewrite her list here because my kids have grown and moved out of the house. And so there were a lot of things on her list that were fantastic for people with young kids.
Okay.
But I just found there was a lot crossed off, so I just rewrote it for this.
Okay.
And then, yes, I do have a section for my daughter herself. And so I have her photo there, and I have a list of specific requests that I am praying for her that is not for the group as a whole.
So is that your checkbox list again, kind of there?
Yes, it is.
Okay, great.
Yeah, exactly. So, yes, maybe she's applying for a job. And so I want to pray and ask for God's wisdom, that he would give her insight, that he would keep her calm and collected as she's going through the interview.
I love that.
That his will would be done in that job. Not necessarily that she would get it, but that his will would be done.
Right. Wow, I love that. Love that.
So then I have the same thing for my son, and then I have the same thing for my daughter-in-law. And still within my kids section, I have a divider for my son and my daughter-in-law's marriage. They're newlyweds, and I just find that the things I want to pray for their relationship is a little bit different than what I pray for my husband and myself. So I put their wedding photo in there, and I'm just,
I love it.
And then, this is really neat. I was so excited. I visited a church that still had Sunday school papers. Remember Sunday school papers?
Yes.
And on the back was this characteristics of a godly husband. And this was just so neat. You have a prayer binder now. You just hole punch it and put it in. I highlight all these different characteristics that I can pray that he would have in his marriage. So I love that with a binder, you can just add these things.
Yeah.
You know, with a notebook, you can't do that as easily.
Right.
And then you can have a section for your grandkids that even if you don't have them, you can be praying for them.
Oh, yes. Yes.
Right? And if you don't have a son-in-law or a daughter-in-law yet, it's still really important to be praying for them.
Absolutely.
You don't know who they are, but they are out there, and they do need your prayers.
Yes. I love it.
So, yeah. And then there's a section for urgent requests, and I've covered these up just for privacy again, but it's the same type of thing, a little ticky box with the date, the request written underneath with a couple of lines for the answer.
I can't even tell you how much I love this. This is so great. I keep saying the same thing over and over, but it's because I love it.
Well, you totally inspired this, Carrie. I'm just so grateful that you posted this in the first place.
Oh, it's so great.
It's an amazing tool.
It is. It is.
PDFcalendar.com. I don't have a page in here right now, but PDFcalendar.com is a great site to make customizable calendars. So you can make them half size for these small binders. You can make them portrait orientation or landscape, and with lines, without lines, dates or not, and just make whatever works for you. And then when you are praying for something that's date sensitive, like someone's medical test or a job interview or something, you can put that on the calendar right on the date and be praying for them while you're actually doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, and then there's a weekly section. So this is, for all the, boy, all the other myriad requests that we have that we need to break down into something more manageable, or we would be sitting here all day. And so on Monday, I pray for my extended family.
Okay.
My immediate family is here, and I pray for them every day. But my extended family, I have their names under here, and I pray certain things for them as a whole, but then I have another page behind that for if they have something specific.
Okay.
So that's Monday. Tuesday, I'm praying for my Christian friends. Again, I have their names listed here, but I also have a page behind. Someone has lost their job, and again, ticky box and the date.
Perfect.
And the request. Wednesday is for non-Christian friends and neighbors. Thursday, I pray for the church. And this is a great place to put these missionary cards that you can get, because their requests are right on the back, right? So again, everything's all nice in your book. So behind here, there's the name of your pastor, your board of elders, the people who are in charge of your ministry, that sort of a thing.
Yeah.
So, and that one can get long, so I do have an arrow on that one.
Okay.
Even your church body can be in here.
Love it.
And the missionaries, obviously. And Friday is for praying for your nation and your government and the world. I know you said you were praying for a different country each week, was it, or each month?
Oh, I've changed it since then, but yeah, that's an option too. Like you said, there's so many things you could put here in this section.
And the beauty of it, like you say, you've changed it now. These binders can grow with us.
Yes.
Yeah, I love it how you can swap it up.
And I think you said that in one of your workshops that there was like people were putting in like the persecuted church to pray for, and I mean you could a certain mission agency that's heavy on your heart or that needs prayer, anything like that. You could dedicate a full day or 2.5 minutes for whatever you want on these Monday through Friday tabs.
Absolutely, yes. You can change these headings up. You can put your non-Christian friends and your friends in one day and put something else in there. I had one person totally did all 5 days to something different for her. And so, the beauty of these binders is that you make it work for you.
Yes.
And the life that you have, because we are all different. We all have different ministries, different connections with different people. And so, we want to be continually evolving these books to reflect what's going on.
Yes, I love it.
So then there's a thank you section at the back. I really like the Overwhelmed song by Big Daddy Weave. I just think that is just the best way to wrap up my prayer time. And I love this verse, that He is your praise. He is your God who has done these great and awesome things for you, which your eyes have seen.
Love it.
So I love to have that back there. And one day I was just going I made this list of all these characteristics of God that I was grateful for: His salvation, His love, His protection. And then I thought, there are verses in Scripture for each of these things. So I looked them up, and I just really like to take one of those each day as well. And just praise Him for that. So that's the end of the actual prayer part.
Okay.
And then I have the extras. Do you want me to go on to the extras?
Yes, let's go on to the extras.
Okay, the extras. I love this part too. These are the treasures for me that I have uncovered in my prayer time, and they are just like gold to me. I had to get more dividers for this because I ended up with 5 sections, but I have this first one is called Favorite Verses. At first, they were just going to be wonderful verses, and then I got so many that I ended up categorizing them. But these are all my fear verses, and I am just amazed how much Scripture talks about God and trusting Him and not being afraid and just leaning on Him. And so every time I uncover one of these in my devotions, I add it to this list. And, there are some times that you might wake up in the night, middle of the night, gripped with fear. And I will pull out this and start going through these, or going through the lyrics that I have in my next section. I have more lyrics to songs. Um, the love of God is one, or just the contemporary worship songs now are really powerful. And
Oh,
I don't know, music is very powerful for
yes,
me.
yes.
You can read these words and they are wonderful and powerful, but boy, you set them to music and it just takes it to a whole
Yeah.
other level. So that's my second section in my extras is just lyrics of songs that are particularly speaking to me.
So this
So
extra section, this is not part of your prayer time. This is just where you're putting stuff that you don't want to forget, that you love, that kind of thing, right?
exactly.
Okay.
Yes, I do have other journals that I have kept up. These are the most special because your binder is only so big.
Yes.
These are the most special, powerful things that I have learned that I want to hold on to and I want to reflect on often.
Yes.
If it's something like maybe my sermon notes or something and a point that the pastor said that I want to remember, I will put that in another journal.
Okay.
But these are the things that I feel are very special to me, life lessons that I don't want to forget.
Yes.
My third section here is called Things I've Learned. Sometimes when you're having your devotional time and something just hits you and oh my goodness, that is so true. That is so me. I don't ever want to forget this.
Yes.
This is the answer to that question I've always had, or this is the solution to, that, yeah.
Yes, I love that.
So I have those written back here, gold, just gold to me. My fourth one is God's Fingerprints, and this is where, like I said, I told you that I have written some of the answers that I've received, some of the just like really major answers that if anybody ever asked me, like you said, how do you know, can you think of a time when God moved in your life? I would go back here.
Okay.
I also have back here, sometimes God will give me something that is so specific, so unique, that I know this was just a gift for me from him because he loves me that much. And so, again, I don't ever want to forget that, so that's written back here.
Oh.
And then the last one is a section on warfare, because our church did this Bible study recently, Priscilla Shirer's Armor of God, and we learned a lot about battle strategies, and the study had these little warfare cards that we can read when we are struggling with certain things. So those are back there just because I want them handy.
I love it.
So that's it for what's all in my binder. These little binders are great. You can keep your little stickies back here. These are my sticky arrows. If I have something that if I'm tempted to stop and make a page for this, I write it on here instead and stick it in. Because, if I stop to make the page, I would never get back to my prayer.
So that's just to remind you, I want to do a page on this now.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I have time, that will be stuck in there. I have my reinforcements. I have this great template because I really like my holes punched in the right spot.
Nice.
So,
me too.
Template back there. And I want to show you this. I feel this is really important too, this notepad that I keep at the front. How many times are you praying for someone and you think, oh, I was supposed to phone them? And you stop to make the call and there goes your prayer time.
Yep.
And so I will just write on here, phone Susie, and leave it. Get back to my prayer time.
Yes.
Because if I stopped, that would be it for the day. So sometimes I'll have quite a list of things here that even if it's just, I forgot to take the casserole out of the deep freeze, I will write that there. When my prayer time is done, I'll rip off this sheet and make my phone calls or put the items in my to-do list or get the casserole out of the deep freeze.
And I find that there is no better way for me to remember something I've forgotten than to start praying, because I don't know what it is, but it comes up. If it's Satan or what, I'll get all these thoughts of, I forgot that. And it's like my to-do list automatically forms if I have a piece of paper like that. and then I can continue my prayer time. But if I don't and I hop up to do it, you're right. Prayer time is over, and even forming this long to-do list is gone because I'm not focused on prayer. It's really the best way for me to think about other people and to think about things I've forgotten to start praying.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So true.
Yeah.
So true. I think this is this is a crucial part of the whole binder.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's it.
Well, did we have just a few more minutes here? Did you want to just kind of go over briefly the supplies that you used to set this up?
Sure. Yes. This is the half-size binder from Staples. Walmart also sells them, but not with the totally clear front anymore, unless maybe your location might, but ours doesn't. And I wanted this clear front because I wanted to put scrapbooking paper in it.
Right.
I kind of like things to be colorful. I like things to match, and so I went the scrapbooking paper route. But some people some people have just printed off a verse in color and slipped it inside the cover. Same thing with the dividers. Some people want to use construction paper, and maybe they will decorate it. You could probably do this. In fact, I know you could. You would decorate it up really pretty. Some people do stickers or whatever. Some people have just put wrapping paper in here. Just they want all their dividers to be the same, and so a pretty wrapping paper works. But I use the page protectors for my major dividers because they stick out further than these subdividers do.
Yeah.
And just because, to me, visually, this indicates that this is all part of my me section because they are behind. So, yeah, you need a package of the page protectors. You need, in this binder, I have 3 packages of subdividers, and those are at Staples as well and Walmart. The filler paper you will need. Let's see. And if you don't want to buy the arrows, a lot of people will just use a paper clip and just slide that down the page as things change. And then, the sticky notes are great, the reinforcements, the arrows.
I love it.
I think that's it.
Okay. Well, I will upload this on YouTube. I will have a link to all the things we mentioned on there. And then people can comment or ask questions. But I am so thankful for you, Dawne, and for your heart for this binder. And I love to see where God has taken Gina's little video that I picked up and I did my thing with it. And then you've done your thing, and yours is so much different than mine, but so valuable. And I love the story that you told me earlier about how you were conflicted on whether you should bring your prayer binder because it was so precious to you on a trip, right?
Oh, I was really torn about that because yes, there, especially in my extra section or even my special request section to see how God moved, I would never want to lose this.
Yeah.
Some people, they're fine with carrying them around. I didn't want to risk that, but I didn't want to be without it either. So I was really torn which way to go. So I just ended up taking pictures of each page in case I lost it and took it with me.
And I think that's just brilliant. The thing that I like about this style of prayer binder, because there's a lot of people that have notebooks and journals and stuff like that, but one, the pages can be moved and changed around. Like you said, there's one that kind of floats around to where you want it. And when it does get too full, you can archive some of those pages into a different, like I have 2 half-size binders now. And I have my one that's my working prayer binder, and then I have one that's like my archive.
Oh.
And I just kind of slip them out. My sister-in-law and I were talking about this, and I think I'm going to try to do it every quarter to just go through and do a refresh and keep it and then archive anything. And yeah, I just love.
Great idea.
I love it.
Yeah, that's a fantastic idea because mine is, you can maybe tell, it's getting really full, and I'm struggling with what to pull out of there because it's also precious to me.
I know.
I will watch to see your blog update on how to archive our prayer binders. That would be great.
I will do that for sure. Okay, well, I will end this. It looks like we're coming in right at under 45 minutes, so it's totally doable for somebody to watch it or pause it if they need to. And I thank you again so much, Dawn. This is going to be such a blessing to so many people.
Carrie, the thanks go right back to you and to Gina for coming up with this fantastic idea. Thank you for showing us how you use yours, the timer app, the way you have made yours so beautiful. That inspired me greatly. I wouldn't have done this if I hadn't seen yours. So thank you for that.
So wonderful. All right, well, I will click this video off and we'll get this on YouTube.
Okay, thanks, Carrie.
Thank you.